Cooper's. The stripper that gets it off every time. Pretty cool, eh? Hi everybody, back here again, and today we've got a little treat. We've got the Jeep that doesn't stop giving, and it's more about the story than in the stripping. The stripping, as you can see, is pretty straightforward. So I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Daryl Clark. So come here, Daryl. Show my friend. How you going? Very well.
Hey everyone.
So, I got introduced to this Jeep 2 or 3 years ago, and to me it was a story of inspiration and how you can take something and then see it go through the generations, and Daryl's the guy that's going to tell the story. So we've got a picture to start the story off. What's this about, Daryl? Who's this?
So that's my dad, Russ, and that is in Ocean Beach, which is out the South Wairarapa coast near Wellington.
In 1962.
And that's in 1962. So basically my grandfather, Stuart Clark, he built this Jeep in the late 50s, and my dad learnt to drive in it and spent many of his early years in childhood driving it around out on the coast there. Okay, this is basically 30 years later. So I mentioned my granddad who built it, so that's my granddad there, and this is 30 years after he built it, and this is me, his grandson, driving it. So this is the second generation. So basically granddad built it in the 50s for my dad Russ, and then 30 years later it came back out of the shed and we stripped the paint there. We probably sanded it back then. Yeah, and there we are, enjoying it again 30 years later. These are my friends. So that's Stuart, it's me, my friend Aaron, James, my sister Stacey, and Catherine. We all live down the road together in Upper Hutt.
And Daryl in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and me driving.
You may see a bit of a common theme.
Okay, and then this one. This is my dad and myself, and this is out Ocean Beach again in the South Wairarapa coast. So my granddad built a batch out there years and years ago when you could basically turn up and just look at a piece of land, build a batch out of whatever materials you had, pay nothing for the land, and it still stands 65 years later. But this is basically, yeah, same place, same Jeep. There's Dad, and then that's me. Yep. Okay.
Who's this chap?
Right, now this is my son, Charlie. So this was taken yesterday. So this is now 60 years since the Jeep was first built. And yeah, now we're basically restoring it again for the third time, and third time in 60 years.
And in the driver's seat once more, the Clark is in the driver's seat.
So that's my son. So yeah, basically my dad learnt to drive in it, I learnt to drive in it, and now my son's learning to drive in it. But it's got full motor, 3-speed gearbox, clutch, brake, throttle of course. Yeah, it's a neat little car. Oh. Okay, so then this is my dad again, and this is my son Charlie, and this is a hot rod that my dad built over the last 7 years. So I guess part of the story with this Jeep is that my granddad built this Jeep 60 years ago, and sort of that handyman kind of theme has sort of passed on to my dad, who has spent his life building things and cars and whatnot, and that same sort of petrol head hobby has kind of flowed into myself, and yeah, I spend a lot of time with my boy now in the garage doing different things, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I guess.
Exactly. And I noticed there's something over here. What's this all about?
So that's a endurance racing car, which I race with my uncle and family. It's my uncle's car. I just do all the prep work on it before the races, do all the fixing of things when they get broken, and yeah, we race it around New Zealand at all the North Island tracks and the New Zealand Endurance Racing Series. So we're racing in a couple of weeks, and yeah, it's almost ready to go.
Cool. Wow. And there's a chap over there hiding. Let's get a quick scan. And that's Russ himself.
I am.
Russ is a pretty special man. So, yeah.
So Simon, I think that years ago you would have seen that photo when it was stripped. When I was a boy, we must have sanded it because it looks similar, but there's just no way we had stripper like this to do the job then. But it was a pretty awesome job, eh?
Yeah, basically what I've used on there are our two main products. You saw me start scrubbing, and this is our stripper here.
Yeah.
And so that goes on. I'd pre-soaked it for about 10 minutes before the camera started rolling, and then I basically scrubbed it with one of our brass brushes, and you can see it's all clogged up. And then I used our blue rinse, the flusher, to with another brush to rinse it all clean. So the red one dissolves, the blue one rinses, and that's that. Now this is the paint that's on this car, but it doesn't mean it's on every car. But there are no paints or varnishes that it won't take off, but they will just react slightly differently. So it'll take off any paint, any varnish of any surface. So this will be stripped throughout the day, and we're going to create a tutorial that'll go online at some point. So
looks like green to me there, yeah?
yeah,
Yeah, so
that army colour.
so yeah, back in my day it was green.
Use a cleaner brush.
Yeah. So obviously if this was lead paint, this would be a lot safer doing it this way than...
Yeah, with lead it dissolves it, so there's no dust. So it's a completely dust-free system. Where our stance is that dust is the big thing you've got to be careful of. With any solvent to use, you've got good ventilation, there's no problem there. What's the problem is that when you start grinding and sanding and all that you create a toxic mist, so not good. So let's see if it starts up, shall we?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't start, then we'll finish. If it does start, then we'll see what it does.
Alright, well
So
let me run you through the squeeze on and over here, Arthur. So, very, very basic. We've got steering wheel here, clutch, brake, throttle, 3-speed gearbox, and then just your off and on, which is all you need when you're learning to drive as a little kid. Underneath the hood here, can we lift this up, mate?
yep, just wet in the centre, that's fine.
We got a motorbike motor, and over the years it's had lots of different engine configurations. This is the latest one, although this has been in here for, I would say, probably 15 years. The Jeep's been passed through a few different cousins as well over the years. Everyone's done their bit to keep it going, but with any luck it'll go here. Normally when someone's watching, things don't work out to plan, so don't be surprised if it doesn't start.
Especially on a live stream.
Here we go. Okay, you ready? Come on. Nope, that's not a good opener. So, get one more and then we might need some gas.
Now while Daryl does that, these live streams, what we're really keen for people to do is to share it with anyone around the world. If you've got family, friends around the world, if you like what you're seeing, share. Where our products are available online, and we air freight them worldwide. So it's not just a New Zealand only game. So, ooh.
And it runs.
It runs.
Needed a bit of help, but it lives.
It was running around the
You'll be-
parks yesterday.
Yeah, there's still a few things to... Almost.
Okay. We're still on? Yep. Cool. Okay. I was getting quite excited there. So, that's it for the day. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time. We'll be back in the random garage. And so we'll see you then. Cheers. And thank you, Daryl, wherever you are.